Welcome to Hotline TV, everybody. I'm John Mercurio.
And I'm Amy Walter. Well, John, you just never know what politicians are going to say next.
No,
do you?
you just never do, Amy. But I do know what they've already said, and McCain strategist Charlie Black is in a little bit of hot water today.
Well, and his gaffe has inspired us to unveil Hotline's very own Gaffometer.
That's what I'm talking about. All right, the Gaffometer, or Gaffometer, if you prefer it that way, rates gaffes on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being a flash in the pan, something that we'll forget about by tomorrow, 10 being a campaign ender. All right, so Amy Walter, how would you rate Charlie Black's comment that a terrorist attack would help McCain win the presidency?
Yeah, I'm going to put it on the low end, maybe like a 4 or so. Yeah, here's the thing, and the consensus seems to be all around that, all right, maybe you don't say that out loud, but it's what everybody is already thinking about, right? So that this is something that, all right, had Charlie Black not said this, but let's say a commentator said this or a columnist written this, we would still be talking about it, but we wouldn't say it's inappropriate. It's the fact that it came from his campaign.
I'm going to be a little more contrarian. I'm going to put it a little bit higher, a 5 or a 6. Because Charlie Black is pretty close to McCain. Obviously, if McCain had said it himself, it would be much, much worse.
Clearly.
And it extended beyond that. He said that not just a sort of a theoretical campaign, a theoretical terrorist attack, but he specifically mentioned the assassination of Benazir Bhutto and how that was a big help to McCain during the Republican primary. And look, Hillary Clinton's campaign spokesperson made a very, very, very thinly veiled reference to how Bhutto's assassination helped her, and he was, held in effigy for several days. So I think it's probably something more along a 5 or a 6.
If you're a strategist, by the way, stay talking strategy, not talking about it to reporters. That's the thing. Okay.
All right.
Don Imus.
Moving right along, Don Imus in hot water again today. This is a 1. In fact, this is a negative 10. This is something that Imus was saying.
I don't know
that
if
I think that I think, frankly, that African American civil rights leaders, Al Sharpton, who was out there talking today, should be rallying around him. I mean, the context is being completely lost. He was actually defending Pac-Man against, the football player, against what he saw as sort of a police. What do you call it when they?
Profiling?
When they profile you.
Yeah.
That's what he was talking about. He's been completely taken out of context. The media completely taking it out of context, I think, and it's unfair.
Okay, what's
and
next?
You got no one?
No, I got nothing. I hate talking about. Can we just be, and the fact is, you put him back on the radio, you're going to get controversy, period. Okay, whether it's made up or not.
But what the media has taken this as an opportunity today is they say, all right, well, this is what he said about Pac-Man Jones, and this is what he said in the past,
of course,
which has nothing to do
which means
with
that he either can never, ever bring up anything that has to do with race, or just not be on the radio.
All right, Barack Obama and his Muslim snub.
I know. This is sort of fascinating to me. I think that this is going to stick around for a little while. I'm going to put this up there in the 5 or 6 category, simply because the fact is, Barack Obama is a Rorschach test for most people, right? They see in him what they want to see, and when he doesn't reflect that back to them, or doesn't do it correctly, what they perceive as correctly, they get upset, and they're going to hold that grudge against him. And, it is this fine line that Barack Obama is going to have to walk here between, I need to embrace and be open, and I'm a different kind of candidate. At the same time, he's still trying to define himself, trying to figure out how he can get, sort of deflect some of the attacks against him.
Okay.
I don't know. I think that you're
5 or
going to
6.
find, yeah.
Let's give you a 6. I'm going to agree with you on that. I think it's probably going to be a 5 or 6. All right. Finally today, the Gaffometer's bonus feature. Which gaffe, in your opinion, Amy Walter, which is a very reputable and highly admired opinion, which gaffe will last longer? John McCain's Iraq for 100 years, or Obama's comment about bitter people who live in rural areas and cling to guns and God?
I'm going to go with Obama.
Yo.
Because, again, McCain, already defined as a war hero. People think they know that much about him. And I think in some cases, like the MoveOn.org ads and others, they've kind of taken this sort of beyond, sort of stretched the credibility of this. The bitter comments, those were in context. And I think that, again, for somebody not as well known, this image that he's sitting there drinking martinis and snubbing people, that he's an elitist, that stuff really, I think, is much harder for him to get out from under. What about you?
I'm going to agree with you because I think that ultimately by Election Day, that issue will be more relevant than the
Than the
war
Iraq.
in Iraq.
Yeah.
And frankly, I think the Democrats are trying as hard as they can, to their credit, to get as much mileage out of the Iraq for 100 years comment already. We've already seen a MoveOn.org ad out last week with a woman and her baby.
Right.
And so I think that any of the mileage that we're going to see coming from that will probably be spent within the next couple of months. But you're right, I think the bitter comments linger.
And they define him more so than
And they
Iraq
define him, and I think
defines
that the
McCain.
issue is sort of dismissed, but I think we certainly saw in Kentucky and West Virginia and other states that it hurt him among voters in those states. So that I think could be brought up again. All right, that's going to do it all for today. Until tomorrow, I'm John Mercurio.
And I'm Amy Walter. We'll see you next time on Hotline TV.